What is ISO 27001? Every organization that handles data faces security risks. Customers want to know their data is protected. Regulators demand evidence of security controls. Partners require assurance before sharing sensitive information. ISO 27001 is the internationally recognized standard that provides the framework for managing information security systematically, and the certification that proves it has been independently verified. Let us explore what it is, how it works, and why it matters. Let us define ISO 27001 and understand the scope of what the standard requires organizations to implement. ISO 27001 specifies requirements for establishing, implementing, maintaining, and continually improving an information security management system. ISO 27001 defines what an organization must do to manage information security systematically. It does not prescribe specific technical controls. Instead, it requires organizations to identify their information security risks and implement controls appropriate to those risks. This risk-based, context-sensitive approach makes it applicable to organizations of every size and type. The risk-based approach is the foundation of ISO 27001. The standard requires organizations to identify information assets, assess the threats and vulnerabilities that could compromise them, evaluate the likelihood and impact of potential security incidents, and select controls that bring residual risk to an acceptable level. Annex A of ISO 27001, 2022 contains 93 security controls organized across 4 domains: organizational controls, people controls, physical controls, and technological controls. Organizations do not need to implement all 93 controls. They must implement those that are applicable to their identified risks and document their reasoning for exclusions in a statement of applicability. ISO 27001 can be implemented by any organization regardless of industry, size, or geography. Banks, hospitals, software companies, manufacturers, law firms, and government agencies all use the same standard, adapting its requirements to their specific context, risk profile, and information assets. ISO 27001 certification is issued by accredited third-party certification bodies after successful completion of a 2-stage audit. It provides customers, regulators, and partners with independent assurance that the organization's information security management meets internationally recognized requirements, assurance that self-certification cannot provide. 4 foundational concepts that define the ISO 27001 standard and its implementation. The ISMS is the totality of the organization's information security management approach, not a single system or software product, but the integrated combination of policies, processes, procedures, technical controls, and management oversight that collectively protects information and manages security risk. The Annex A controls in ISO 27001, 2022 were significantly restructured from the 2013 version, consolidating 114 controls into 93 across 4 themes. Organizations must evaluate each control for applicability to their risk context. The controls range from access management and cryptography to supplier security and incident management. The Statement of Applicability is one of the most important documents in an ISO 27001 ISMS. It demonstrates that the organization has systematically evaluated every potential control, provides transparent justification for selections and exclusions, and serves as a key reference point for auditors assessing the completeness of the security control environment. The Risk Treatment Plan is where the risk assessment results are converted into action. It assigns responsibility for each risk treatment decision, specifies which controls will be implemented, sets timelines for implementation, and tracks progress, creating an audit trail that demonstrates systematic, managed response to identified risks. Now let us walk through how organizations implement ISO 27001, from scoping and risk assessment through control implementation and certification. ISO 27001 implementation follows the PDCA cycle: plan, do, check, act, through a structured series of phases from scoping to certification. Defining the ISMS scope is the first and one of the most consequential decisions in implementation. The scope determines which parts of the organization, information assets, processes, and locations will be covered by the ISMS. Scope that is too narrow provides insufficient assurance. Scope that is too broad creates an unmanageable implementation. The risk assessment is the analytical engine of ISO 27001. It requires identifying information assets, assessing threats and vulnerabilities, evaluating the likelihood and impact of security incidents, and producing a risk register that drives control selection. The quality of the risk assessment determines the quality of the entire ISMS. Selecting Annex A controls and documenting the statement of applicability requires systematic evaluation of each of the 93 controls against the identified risks. Controls that are applicable must be implemented or have a credible implementation plan. Exclusions must be justified. Auditors pay close attention to the completeness and rigor of the applicability analysis. Control implementation is where the ISMS becomes operational. It includes deploying technical controls such as access management, encryption, and monitoring, establishing procedural controls such as incident response and supplier security, and embedding people controls such as security awareness training and acceptable use policies. Internal audit and management review are mandatory requirements in ISO 27001 that serve a dual purpose. They verify the ISMS is operating as designed before external auditors arrive, and they provide the evidence of ongoing management commitment and continuous improvement that auditors look for in a mature management system. ISO 27001 implementation follows a structured path from context setting through risk management, control implementation, and certification. Setting context. Let us explore why ISO 27001 has become the global benchmark for information security management and why certification delivers genuine strategic advantage. ISO 27001 certification reduces security risk, opens commercial doors, satisfies regulatory requirements, and demonstrates security maturity to all stakeholders. The core purpose of ISO 27001 is risk reduction. By requiring organizations to systematically identify their information security risks and implement controls appropriate to those risks, the standard drives a level of security rigor that ad hoc security approaches rarely achieve. Organizations with certified ISMSs consistently experience fewer security incidents than those without structured security management. In sectors including finance, healthcare, defense, and professional services, ISO 27001 certification is increasingly a commercial prerequisite. Procurement teams use it as a qualifying criterion, large enterprises require it from suppliers, and regulated industries accept it as evidence of security due diligence. Certification opens doors that would otherwise be closed. ISO 27001 has significant overlap with the security requirements of GDPR and IS2, the UK Cyber Essentials Plus scheme, and many national security frameworks. Organizations with a certified ISMS have substantially addressed the security requirements embedded in these regulations, reducing both compliance effort and the risk of regulatory sanction. In a threat environment where security breaches are routine and data privacy expectations are high, ISO 27001 certification provides a credible, independently verified signal of security maturity. This signal matters to customers who entrust the organization with their data, to investors who assess operational risk, and to boards seeking assurance that information security is being managed systematically. Let us compare how organizations with and without ISO 27001 compare in their security posture, market access, and stakeholder confidence. Without ISO 27001, organizations typically manage security reactively, struggle to demonstrate their security posture to customers and regulators, face barriers in regulated procurement processes, and lack the systematic improvement cycle that prevents security capability from degrading over time. With ISO 27001, organizations manage security systematically through a risk-based approach, carry internationally recognized certification that satisfies customer and regulatory security requirements, and operate within a continuous improvement cycle that ensures security capability evolves with the threat landscape. Let us bring together the essential points from our introduction to ISO 27001. If you want to implement ISO 27001 and achieve certification, our complete Udemy course provides the step-by-step implementation framework, risk assessment templates, and Annex A control guidance you need. Enroll today. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. See you in the next video.